Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hassett Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We are virtual only. We're based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence, as we head into these Revelation times. We're solving a little piece of Revelation that's going to be Revelation 9 through 15 and a little piece of 16 today, too. More focusing on the midpoint and how what I'm arguing is that certain spirits are being assembled out to the end times. And so we'll be talking about China and Russia and who will attack us first. And so I'm going to give you more of the thought behind the thought. Okay, so keep in mind that there's this section of Daniel 10, where Daniel 10:20 specifically, where you see Gabriel fighting against the prince of Persia, and when he leaves, the prince of Greece will come, and Michael is really the only one that will help him with these fights. There are these spiritual wars going on. So there's Putin and Xi and Trump, but there are also spirits behind that. And they're being assembled, people. Okay, you're watching it. We aren't going to see it until about the midpoint, but you're going to see these spirits being assembled. The dragon spirit, the bear spirit, and they're all mentioned in the Bible. So I think you'll agree with me at some point in time here. So what are we doing here? We're doing the philosophy of the end of days. If I seem interested because I know Bible prophecy is working, it's working even better now. That doesn't mean that I'm happy about this. It just means that it is. So anyway, the point is that I want you to be aware of these things and start to realize that we don't twist the Bible. We're giving you prophecy. We're going to give you something from Dumitru Duduman, and David Wilkerson, and then we're also going to talk about the news and what's going on there. So I want to show you this in terms of the spirits being called out, and these men, the kings we'll call them, and also the spirits. Okay, so let's just read it and see what you think, and think in the back of your head about 1 Kings 22:22, who will be a lying spirit in the mouths of the prophets, and how God said, I want someone to do this for me. So, and I saw 3 unclean spirits that looked like frogs, and they came from the mouth of the dragon, the mouth of the beast, and the mouth of the false prophet. They are miracle-working demonic spirits. They will be unmasked, but these spirits will work, which go out to the kings of the whole inhabited world to assemble them for the war of the great day of Adonai Tezvaot. This is Revelation 16, 12, and 13, okay? So once again, the demonic spirits gathered all the rulers and their armies to a place with the Hebrew name of Armageddon, okay? So that's Revelation 16, 16. So what we're watching right now is things being pulled forward as we're seeing Trump fight with China, and the spirit of China, they will argue there's a fallen angel behind China and a fallen angel behind Russia. So Trump is devastating the world right now. But he's getting what he wants, but it sets up that angst, that anger that will just pull these spirits out and the kings with them out into this devastating final battle. So China just lost the Panama Canal as of Sunday. I couldn't record on Sunday. I had lots of issues with my technology. So anyway, Rubio ran down to Panama and said, you will or we will tariff you. And so Panama kicked China out. Russia, their economy is on the brink, okay? And more than that, Zelensky is demanding that the West give him nuclear weapons, give him the nukes so that Russia can use that too and end this war. No, it won't end the war. It would be 10 times worse. And this crazy guy, Zelensky, is the problem. We need to get him out of office. But also, you need to just change the attitude over there. So basically, this is an unwinnable war on each side. We need to end it. Trump is going to try to end it. But the spirits behind it, the spirits of Russia, the spirits of Russia, the bear, it wants to, according to Daniel, it wants to eat more, 3 more bones or 3 more entities. Okay? So, but China is the dragon. So what's going on with that? So there are dragons going on. So what you're seeing is more protests and more angst, which is a sign of the first seal, just like the last slide was a sign of the first seal. So you'll see these protests in LA on Sunday afternoon. And that's for Mexico and Mexicans that happen to live in LA and in California. Then in the middle there, you'll see New York protests, and that is the Palestinians protesting. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see Stockholm, London, New York again, Berlin, Montreal, Belfast, all of these protests. You'll see more of those occur. I'll give you the prophecies behind those from Wilkerson and Duduman. We'll see what you think. Okay, so the second seal, Duduman's revolution rather, ethnos epi ethnos, which is ethnic groups. You see them fighting off each other, and so you'll see people just start to fight more. This is drawing us into the end times. Okay, this is from the Times of India. The White House demands apology after Hakeem Jeffries calls for a fight against President Trump's agenda in the streets. Okay, and so Jeffries shouldn't be doing that. This is going to cause chaos, but it's part of prophecy, and I'll show you that in a minute. Germany's succession fears return ahead of the election. That's part of Wilkerson's 1973 prophecy. And it's the fights with, and the economic woes too, which is technically the third seal, which is, I'll explain it in the next slide, don't worry. So anyway, the main point is, according to Wilkerson, Germany has to fall first, then Europe with them, then Japan, then the United States. It's starting to happen. So that was the Times of India on the left and Reuters on the right-hand side. That blip that you're seeing in the picture there that this leader is holding, they aren't coming back from the blip. There are major flaws with Germany right now. So just get ready for that. Okay. Second seal is more like people groups fighting people groups. Okay. And so King Trump, I call him King Trump based on Revelation 17. You can argue with me separately. It's a bully pulpit, and he's bullying the world leaders. That will cause that angst, and that will assemble them technically to the Battle of Armageddon at some point in time. My friend John Haller calls Trump a storm. He is a storm. He stormed into the Davos World Economic Forum meetings via video, and he chastised them horribly. This is Al Jazeera on the left-hand side, citing his grievances, saying basically, I'm going to tariff all of you if you don't do exactly what I want you to do. They will hate him and hate America. That's part of the end times, people. You'll see it. Trump to impose tariffs on Mexico, Canada, China. Yeah, that's from Arutz Sheva. And yes, he did that. But then within moments, Canada blinked. First, Mexico blinked. Okay, because these tariffs would have been 25% against Canada and Mexico, China 10%. So what he's trying to do is tweak it so that the goods that are coming from China through then again Canada and Mexico would be shut off because they couldn't afford to do it. So they'll have to come directly from China, which is interesting. So he's going to add 10% to their tariffs. Okay, so the trade wars begin. When you get to the hot wars, you have to start with the trade wars. Economics start first. They start all the wars. And so right now, Mexico's caved, Panama caved, Colombia caved, Venezuela caved, Canada has caved as of a few minutes ago. And mass deportations. I mean, basically, but he's riling up the whole world to hate him and the United States. This is from Scott Jennings. I just love Scott. So basically, White House, Canada and Mexico bending the knee to Trump. It's true. And so he's going to stop illegal immigration and fentanyl and things like that. It's just interesting to watch it. It could be a vendetta from Trump. I don't know. But Russia and China are watching. And Russia, as I mentioned, their economy is decimated right now. China has so many problems, I can't describe all of them, but the spirits behind them too. These princes of Russia, the princes of China are watching too. So basically, then the third seal is rapid inflation. So this is from the Poplar report. The real crisis is about to begin. Food shortage updates. It's not just eggs, people. It's other things like that. It's logistics. And according to Supply Chain Dive, it's going to be shortages 2025 geopolitics, problems there, and severe weather fuel uncertainties. Yeah. So that's rapid inflation and income disparity. So just get ready for that. That's part of the third seal. Okay. So the first seal is the West falls. The second seal for me is Lakak Shalom. Peace is snatched from the earth. The third is going to be, Adikasis. Anyway, basically, it is a sin against the poor people for the wealthy to hoard their chocolates and not share with the people. It is an avon sin. It is a willful sin against the poor, and you'll see that happening. And that'll cause one more time to have this Armageddon battle that'll occur. So then Israel's part of the equation too. God is very zealous for Zion, for Jerusalem. And so that's Zechariah 8:2. So Right now, Netanyahu is going to be meeting with Trump today on Tuesday here. Trump is the most pro-Israel president, picking up where he left off, making the U.S.-Israel relationship great again. That's part of prophecy. You need then Jared to be working with MBS of Saudi Arabia. He's not in power yet. He's pretty close. His uncle's old and dying, and he will take over. And once again, Russia and China are watching this to see what occurs. Will there be a peace agreement this fall? Could be. If so, we might go in. Okay? So before we get into the sixth seal, I think we need that peace agreement. Okay? And the sixth seal sounds like the fourth trumpet and the fourth bowl, because I'm arguing that those are dust events. So the galactic magnetic current sheet, the dust event, is coming through, and we see it spiraling along. It'll hit the sun eventually and cause the sixth seal as the dust coats electrostatically onto the sun, and then the coronal magnetic extinction event, but the CME, or in this case, it's probably more like a flare, maybe an X80, something to that level of the Carrington event of 1859, that would cause horrific issues. Then the fourth trumpet would be more like a coating, but it'll just darken a third of the sun, the moon. And by the way, it's a passive verb in that case, and I'm blanking on the exact I should have known that. I should have written it down, but it's passive. So it's not going to be God striking it with his fist. He's going to be passively occluding it with dust, okay? And then the fourth one on the dust bowl, well, that is a major extinction level event, and that's not a CME, probably a flare again, but it's probably a micronova at the end. That's what I'm arguing. And it'll burn people. It'll be horrific. So that's all of these things that seem to be solar related, plus probably the fifth bowl too. So that seems to make sense. We're getting into that right now. And that's why, I'll tell you in just a second who agrees with me. So once again, the cosmos is incoming. You're going to see more signs like the rest of the trumpets, the first four, okay, where things are going to come from outside of our cosmic level and pound us pretty badly. So this is a bright fireball over New Zealand. It's happening more often now, okay? It sounds apocalyptic, and it is. On the right-hand side, you need to be aware that these city killers are showing up now. So in April 13th of 2029, Apophis, which is an Egyptian god, there's a 2.7% chance of that striking the Earth, okay? And then they found another one. Physics.org found this one for us. And this is 1.6% chance that the asteroid will strike the Earth on December 22nd of 2032. Wow. So that's 2024 YR4. Interesting. China and Russia are aware of these. China has incredible people watching the skies. They've been doing this for 5,000 years. They have silk pictures of paintings of these activities, of the comets, of the stars. They have them for 5,000 years. So, and Russia is aware of it too. They have a space program. So just keep in mind, they're not stupid, and the spirits behind them know what's going on too, and know the timing. So these demonic spirits too. So continuing on, I don't think I can get it to play. Unfortunately, I would love to have the video play, but I didn't. But basically, it shows how close Apophis is going to be to us as we rotate around the sun, and it rotates around us. It's going to be very, very close. So this is from Crystal P from X. So this meteor passes close on April 13th, 2029. Funny how it's almost 5 years after 4/8/24 eclipse, then again on 2036. How long is the tribulation? 7 years. It's funny how Trump's term ends in 1 of 2029, just months before this meteor. Could 2029 mark the beginning, I would argue maybe the midpoint, of the tribulation after the last Trump? Interesting. Thank you, Crystal, for that. That's on X again, so interesting status. So what have I been right on? What have I been wrong on? And none of this is thus saith the Lord. This is just reading Revelation 17 in light of Dumitru Duduman. I told you Trump would win, and I was correct, because there are no females, no queens on the mountains of Mount Rushmore, the heads, the seven kings. All of these sevens are males, so there are no queens. So it couldn't have been Hillary, can't be Kamala, has to be Trump. And he won. Okay, so, and is there a vendetta occurring right now? In part, because of the way he was treated by internationals over the last 8 years. So I believe I'm correct so far. Okay. And that Trump will accomplish many things quickly in this term, very fast. He works quickly. You've seen that already. I'm stating the third horseman rides as of the summer of 2012, and that we have already gone through the fourth horseman as of 2020-ish, maybe late 2019. But then we're probably due for the fifth seal and the sixth. So that could be occurring going forward here. We've got patterns setting up for that. Chris prophesied this, that it would be after the Sukkot of 2012. And I can't state the whole prophecy, but he prophesied it exactly. And then Mark, my other friend, cited 1 Kings 12, the Jeroboam-Rehoboam fights and the split kingdom. And you remember 2012, it was split. We knew we were split. But we'll have, in addition to that, signs of the fifth seal, which would be civil war chaos per Wilkerson and Duduman. It would start at some point in time. Paris Olympics, that would be more of the fifth seals, where, Marie Antoinette was beheaded on Fontaine, which is 11/11 of 24. The fourth seal, as I stated, I think we'll get to 2 billion dead. People are walking dead right now. I'm watching them. My relatives are, unfortunately. But I believe it's biowarfare will cause peak death in 2026 by that time. But we're starting to see it. Speed bump Trump means the globalists will run over the nationalists. That's how the Bible reads. So he'll be a speed bump for a temporary time frame. But then eventually we'll have the mark of the beast. And one of his assistants, let's call him El Elyon, seems to be working on the mark of the beast right underneath Trump's nose. So I'm claiming the UFOs will be unmasked by the midpoint. And number 44 probably is Gog. You know who number 44 is for presidents. There will probably be a fake peace agreement in 2025. Putin and Xi and the spirits behind them will feign peace with Trump and Elon, El Elyon. El Elyon, Jared, MBS from Saudi Arabia and Trump will forge a peace between Israel and the Arabs. That's the Abraham Accords. It's logical. I'm not prophesying. I'm just stating they're advertising this. They're saying by the fall, but then the mark of the beast afterwards. And I'm stating the cosmic signs. I'm seeing them increase in 2025. Will that take us into the sixth seal? I don't know, but it seems like it could occur. The signs are there. So, continuing on, who agrees with me? Pastor Ryan Speakman from Lake Havasu City out in Arizona. He says we are here, which means we're right after the fifth seal and waiting for the sixth seal. Wow. I've never found anyone to agree with me. So he runs These Final Days Ministries, and you can go to his site there and just pull up his timeline and take a peek. I'll probably do another video with him at some point in time. Great guy. Love him. Spirit and truth, wonderful. And so I'm hoping that we can talk about this and have a great conversation, because he is a great guy. And we'll have different opinions, but that's good too. But yeah, Pastor Ryan Speakman agrees with me. We are here. And it seems like we are. So we'll see. Okay, now we're going to get into the prophecy side of this. Some of it's biblical. Some of it just is. This is from my friend Chuck, a lot of this. And then I cited some verses. So in China, the dragon picks the emperor. Okay, the dragon, that's in the Bible. That's Satan. I'll show you that in a second. As dragons were capable of traveling between three realms, they were viewed as belonging to the celestial world. If the emperor was supposed to be the son of heaven, then dragons were the logical symbolic icon. That's Emily Thorpe. But Chuck got me started on looking at this. So Trump is angering the dragon. Trump is poking the bear. God knew King Trump's vengeance would break the world down and conquer it, kind of like Joseph in Genesis 41. This will stoke the flames of hatred against America, and you'll see the prophecies coming. When the dragon saw that he had been hurled down to earth, he went in pursuit of the woman who had given birth to the male child. The dragon was infuriated over the woman and went off to fight the rest of her children, those who obey God's commands and bear witness to Yeshua. Then the dragon stood on the seashore. So that's Revelation 12, 13, and 17, 18. So you can see the dragon involved with Satan, involved with the people and chasing the people. And this is about the midpoint, because Revelation 12, as I stated, 9 to 15 seems to be the midpoint, okay, in Revelation. Then continuing on to 13, the beast which I saw was like a leopard, but had feet of those of a bear, Russia. Leopard could be Germany, and a mouth like the mouth of a lion, Great Britain. To it, the dragon gave its power, its throne, and great authority. So, what's going on here? I'm saying that the dragon could give its power to the dragon, China, and to those of the bear and of the leopard, and it works out. Okay, it does work with the not only the leaders but also the spirits behind the leaders, as I'm stating, and you already saw the verses on that in Revelation 16. So let's go through some Chinese stuff and kind of explain how this all works out from Chuck again. So information of the place of honor of the great serpent among the CCP population. Are Chinese dragons good or evil? In terms of its powers, Chinese dragons are a little different than the dragons of European traditions. While European dragons are evil, greedy, or malicious, Chinese dragons are benevolent and wise. They're powerful, dangerous, and should be respected, but they're inherently good. Of course, allegedly. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This is from Chuck again with the dragons and the leaders. The dragons choose the leaders. Okay, continuing on from Chuck. What does yin yang mean in English? Scripture of change. Yin yang, I Ching. The scripture of change is traditionally considered the first and most profound of Chinese classics. The I Ching, the Book of Changes, has 64 hexagrams. Each hexagram is a 6-line figure made up of yin, broken, and yang, solid lines. Hexagrams. It suggests that the ever-spinning wheel of life never reaches a final conclusion. It just goes on. And in many ways, we will continue on with Yeshua. The I Ching, the Book of Changes, includes stories of dragons. The dragon is a symbol of the I Ching that represents the creative force of the universe and the connection between humans and nature, dragons. In Chinese philosophy, the dragon is a metaphor or symbol of power, strength, and creativity. The reign of one of the ancient rulers of old China is regarded as one of the golden ages of Chinese history. As a mythical figure, he was a demigod, a Nephilim, who was said to have 4 faces. That's biblical. In order to see the 4 directions, he could communicate with the gods. Yeah, that's Revelation 4, people. And then continuing on, what does the dragon emperor Luong Hong Di mean? The Chinese emperor was known as the dragon. Luong, dragon. His hands were the dragon's claws, and the seat was the dragon's throne. United with heaven and earth, a wise emperor ruled in harmony with the cosmos and brought peace and prosperity to all. This is how the devil sees himself as God over a nation that was charmed by his power, throne, and authority. As I stated, Revelation 13:1. So you see the dragon, the devil, the Satan, the accuser, but he chooses the Chinese leader. Okay? They call the emperor, which means the child of the heavens, and the emperor is associated with dragons because dragons are one of the most powerful creatures in Chinese mythology. So pretty much everything about the emperor is dragon related. The dragon is in charge of each change of power, and the astrologist can tell from the signs in the stars, which is Revelation 12. It appoints the next ruler. There you go. Okay, now we're going to switch from Chuck, my buddy, to Wilkerson and a little bit of Duduman. So let's go through this. Materialism will end soon. So as we approach the midpoint of the Great Tribulation, you will see the final 7 years. You will see materialism just end and inflation hits and what's about to come. They can only think about surviving. Where do you find enough food for the next day? How to walk back 4 blocks for water without being killed by a sniper, how to live another week without a wife or daughter being savagely abused. Their whole mentality has changed because all peace has been taken, snatched. That's the second seal, Lakak Shalom. All the peace has been snatched from them. Second horseman again. The time is coming in America when we will not be thinking in such materialistic, covetous ways. We will no longer be preoccupied with our psyches, egos, luxuries, depressions. We won't be praying, God, give me the grace this week to put up with my kids and their problems. No, we'll be thinking of mere survival. We'll be thinking about total disintegration of our nation under the judgment of God. America has already had one civil war, and President Lincoln called it the judgment of God. That war was North against South, but now we're facing another civil war, and it won't take place in some tranquil setting like Gettysburg. It's going to be in our midst, in major cities like New York, Miami, Chicago, LA, Boston, Houston, Dallas, Detroit, St. Louis, SF, and Denver. and the bloodshed is going to be beyond all imaginings. David Wilkerson. Continuing on, this is going to be from Duduman, and then I'll get back to some Wilkerson after that. I prayed, and so it's called China and Russia from 1996. I prayed, then I went to bed. I was still awake when suddenly I heard a trumpet sound. A voice called to me, stand. In my vision, I was in America. I walked out of my home and began to look for the one who had spoken to me. As I looked, I saw 3 men dressed alike. 2 of the men carried weapons. One of the armed men came to me. I woke you to show you what is to come. He said, come with me. I didn't know where I was being taken, but when we reached a certain place, he said, stop here. A pair of binoculars was handed to me, and I was told to look through them. Stand here, stand there. Don't move and look, he continued. You will see what they are saying and what they are preparing for America. As I was looking, I saw a great light. A great cloud appeared over it. I saw the president of Russia, a short, chubby man, compared to the leader of China, who said he was the president of China, and 2 others. The last 2 also said that they were where they were from, but I didn't understand. However, I gathered they were part of the Russian-controlled territory. The men stepped out of the cloud. The Russian president began to speak to the Chinese one. I will give you the land with all the people, but you must free Taiwan of the Americans. Do not fear, we will attack them from behind. A voice said to me, watch where the Russians penetrate America. I saw these words being written, Alaska, Minnesota, Florida. I'm from Minnesota. Continuing on with Dumitru from China and Russia. Then the man spoke again. When America goes to war with China, the Russians will strike without warning. The other 2 presidents spoke. We too will fight for you. Each had a place already planned as a point of attack. All of them shook hands and hugged. Then they signed a contract. One of them said, we're sure that Korea and Cuba will be on our side too. Without a doubt, together, we can destroy America. The president of Russia began to speak insistently. Why let ourselves be led by the Americans? Why not rule the world ourselves? They have been kicked out of Europe too, so supposedly that'll happen. It hasn't happened yet. Then I could do as I please with Europe. The man standing beside me said, this is what you saw. They act as friends, and they say they respect the treaties made together, but everything I've shown you is how it will really happen. You must tell them what is being planned against America. Then when it comes to pass, the people will remember the words the Lord has spoken. Who are you, I asked. I am the protector of America. America's sin has reached God. He will allow this destruction, for he can no longer stand such wickedness. God, however, still has people that worship him with a clean heart, as they do his work. He has prepared a heavenly army to save these people. As I looked, a great army, well armed and dressed in white, appeared before me. Do you see that? The man asked. This army will go to battle to save my chosen ones. Then the difference between the godly and the ungodly will be evident. A little bit more of Duduman, and then we'll switch back to Wilkerson. What will you do with the church of the Lord? How will you save the ones that turn toward you? I asked. He said, tell them this, how I saved the 3 young ones from the furnace of fire, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego from Daniel, and how I saved Daniel from the lion's den is the same way I will save them. The angel of the Lord also told me, I have blessed this country because of the Jewish people who are in this country. I have 7 million Jews in this country, but they do not want to recognize the Lord. They didn't want to thank God for the blessing they received in this country. Israel doesn't want to recognize Jesus Christ. They put their faith in the Jewish people in America, but when America burns, the Lord will raise China, Japan, and other nations to go against the Russians. So you'll see the spirits and the leaders get together at first, but then they'll hate each other after that, after it becomes, Russia so powerful, okay? So they will beat the Russians and push them back all the way to the gates of Paris. Over there, they will make a treaty and appoint the Russians as their leaders. They will then unite against Israel, the whole world. That's Gog, from Magog. When Israel realizes she does not have the strength of America behind her, she will be frightened. That's when she will turn to the Messiah for deliverance. That's when Messiah will come. So it's at the end, people. Then the church will meet Jesus in the air, and he will bring them back with him to the Mount of Olives. At that time, the battle for Armageddon will be fought. That's ending Dumitru Duduman's vision there of China and Russia. Let's add some Wilkerson in. Per Don, he added this in. So my friend Don. I have smart friends like Chuck and Don. Wilkerson said the Antichrist will rise from the old Roman Empire being in Europe. Sure. Europe will immediately surrender to Russia and will become a Russian satellite countries after they are nuked. Therefore, it makes, after we are nuked, therefore it makes sense that Russia defeats China and Japan because the Antichrist will be their leader from Europe, as Duduman so strongly implied that it's impossible for me, Don, to think of any other possibility. So basically, I'm saying the Antichrist should be ruling from Rome at some point in time. A friend of mine, I've talked to her a few times and interviewed her, Rebecca Sterling, put together videos. She had the open vision back in 1999. The videos are more like 2016-ish. And so this was the stadium video where you see the midpoint of the Great Tribulation and horrible things are occurring, but there's this weird meeting of the Pope to confer the authority onto the Antichrist. And it's in Rome at their toilet bowl. It looks like it, doesn't it? So anyway, that's in Rome. And so you will have the extra dimensionals take their masks down at that point in time. You'll just see weird things and weird peoples. So her comment about this from the Stadium HD, and I'm citing David Strode of A Voice Crying in the Wilderness for the source, at 2118, these people that I am showing you are weird characters, is how they looked after they lost their ability to wear the masks. Okay? So right now, demons, fallen angels are wearing masks. I've seen demons before, and they do wear masks, but they will be forced to take them down because the great fight, they're being drawn into this great war against God and Yeshua, and so the masks will fall off at some point in time as they're exposed. So you'll be watching for more UFOs, extra dimensional beings. The midpoint, the masks will drop. You'll have water issues, horrible water issues. There will be droughts worldwide, not enough clean water. There will be germs or viruses in food. The extra dimensionals will offer us unlimited water. The extra dimensionals will exchange the seed, which is evil. That's Daniel 2, 43 and 44. Evil. Okay, so basically, I'm telling you that the rabbis have known for thousands of years that demons wear masks. This is Midrash Tanhuma, Mishpatim 19, and so it's the Babylonian Talmud. And so demons unmask at the midpoint is my opinion on this. And so basically, the demons wear these masks, and so our sins seem to cause the mask to fall off the demon. I don't quite understand that, but they're citing Job 33:22, which is interesting, that the destroyers are the ones that bring the death and things like that, and they're appointed by God. So basically what I'm stating is that it's synonymous, the masks are synonymous with fallen angels and demons, that they wear them, but they're going to fall off as we get ready for the final battle. So let's give you one last prophecy from Duduman from 1996. One page remains. As I was riding in the car from Kansas toward Nebraska, I saw a large star appear before me. The star appeared and disappeared before my eyes 4 times. I told my grandson, Michael Boldea, what I had seen, and he said, "Pray and see what God shows you." The next evening, as I was praying, I saw the star again. It shone with such an intensity that it took my eyesight away. The 2 men walked out of the star, dressed in shining garments. One spoke to me, "Dumitru, listen and remember. Your returning to America was God's plan, my plan, and my decision, God's decision. I still have names to add to the number of the book of life before all the things, probably in this case, the book of the Gentiles, that I have shown you will happen." Then he opened the great book and said, "Do you remember how many pages were left to fill when I showed you the last time? Now there is but 1 page left. When this is completed, what I have told you will happen to America." The man proceeded to tell me that the time would take for this page to be filled out would be no longer, but shorter. Things are happening faster, people. The soon of the soon is occurring. He closed the book, and the sounds of thunder reverberated. Russia and China is aware of this too, and the spirits behind them. So once again, I'm showing you the same slide, that these spirits are being called. They'll be unmasked, they'll be called, and they will be assembled for the war against God of all power, our Creator God. And so this is just what's going to happen. And it sounds like 1 Kings 22:22. So where are we? We're in the birth pangs. We're watching these things be assembled. We're not to the midpoint yet, but the midpoint will be when things are exposed, and there will be prison releases and things like that where these fallen angels and demons are released, and then they will be gathered to that final battle. So There's the tribulation. There's the great tribulation. We're not in anything other than probably, according to Ryan and myself, we seem to be very close to the sixth seal. Can't prove it exactly because I can't prove the fifth seal yet, but it's starting to come. Seals open silently and magnify over time. So the Prince of China, the Prince of Russia, they know what's going on. They know that this is part of the plan, that the nations are perplexed, but they're being assembled for war at some point in time. So you'll see dragons and bears and chimeras and Nephilim and other things like that over that time. And so they're being provoked. So that's what's going on. Thank you very much for your time. Your wedding is coming up soon, so get ready. That means you have to have garments that are clean. You can't be naked for Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or Sukkot of some future year when you'll get married. So get ready for that. Thank you very much for your time, and God bless you for allowing me into your living room. And oh goodness, I'm trying to turn this thing off. Let's hope that I can get my mouse to work. I'm so sorry. My mouse is failing. Oh, there we go. Oh, I had it. Okay, there you go. God bless. Bye-bye.